In the quiet farming town of Circleville, Ohio, people knew their neighbors. It was the kind of place where routines rarely changed, and private lives stayed private. But in 1976, that sense of security began to disappear. Anonymous letters started arriving in mailboxes across town. At first, they seemed like cruel gossip. Soon, they became something much darker. The writer appeared to know intimate details about people's lives, details that few others could have known. Over the years, the mysterious letters would terrorize families, damage reputations, and become one of the strangest unsolved cases in American history. The story began when school bus driver Mary Gillespie received an unsigned letter accusing her of having an affair with the school superintendent, Boynton Massey. The letter warned her to end the relationship or face public exposure. At first, Mary ignored it, hoping the harassment would stop. Instead, more letters followed. They were threatening, personal, and surprisingly detailed. Soon, Mary's husband, Ron Gillespie, also received letters demanding that he take action. The letters did not stop with the Gillespie family. Other residents of Circleville began receiving similar messages. They accused people of secret affairs, financial misconduct, and personal scandals. Some accusations appeared believable. Others seemed designed simply to create fear. Whoever was writing the letters knew personal information about many people in town, making residents wonder whether the writer was someone they saw every day. As the harassment continued, the tension inside the Gillespie family grew. Ron reportedly became determined to confront whoever was behind the letters. Then, on the night of August 19, 1977, everything changed. Ron received what was believed to be another threatening communication. He left home carrying a handgun, apparently intending to confront the anonymous writer. Later that night, his pickup truck crashed into a tree. Ron was found dead at the scene. Authorities ruled the death an accident. Although Ron had been carrying a firearm, investigators concluded that alcohol had played a role in the crash. His gun had been fired once, but there was no evidence that another person had been present. Even so, many people questioned whether the accident was connected to the threatening letters. No definitive evidence ever established that it was. After Ron's death, many assumed the letters would stop. Instead, they became even more frequent. The anonymous writer continued targeting residents across Circleville. The letters spread rumors, made accusations, and often referenced private information that frightened recipients. The mystery deepened because the writers seemed to know events almost as soon as they happened. Then, in 1983, the case took another disturbing turn. While driving her regular school bus route, Mary noticed a homemade sign posted near the road. It repeated accusations about her personal life in large letters, clearly meant for passing motorists to see. She stopped the bus, removed the sign, and discovered that it had been attached to a small box. Inside was a loaded handgun, rigged as a crude booby trap. The weapon had been positioned so that anyone attempting to remove the sign differently could have triggered it. Fortunately, it never fired. Investigators traced the handgun through its serial number. It had belonged to Paul Freshour, Mary's former brother-in-law. Freshour denied any involvement. He admitted owning the gun but insisted it had been stolen before the trap was discovered. Investigators believed otherwise. He was arrested and eventually convicted of attempted murder, largely based on the booby trap evidence. For many people, the case seemed solved. But then something happened that complicated everything. While Paul Freshour was serving his prison sentence, anonymous Circleville letters continued to arrive. Some letters appeared to reference his imprisonment directly. Others suggested that the writer was still watching the town. If Freshour had been responsible for all the harassment, how could the letters continue while he was behind bars? Supporters of Freshour argued that this proved he had been wrongly convicted, at least as the letter writer. Others believed he may have had help, or that someone else had taken over. No evidence has conclusively answered that question. Handwriting experts examined the letters over the years, but their conclusions were inconsistent. Some believed the writing resembled Freshour's. Others disagreed. The anonymous author carefully disguised their handwriting, making reliable comparisons difficult. Investigators also examined fingerprints, interviewed suspects, and followed numerous leads. None produced a definitive answer. The Circleville letters eventually became less frequent, though reports suggest anonymous mail continued for years. By the 1990s, the campaign had largely faded, leaving behind decades of unanswered questions. Who possessed such detailed knowledge of so many residents? Why were certain people targeted while others were left alone? Was there truly one author behind the letters? Or were multiple individuals involved? And perhaps the biggest mystery of all, if Paul Freshour was responsible, who continued sending letters after his conviction? Nearly 50 years later, the Circleville letters remain one of America's most enduring mysteries. Thousands of anonymous messages, countless rumors, and years of investigation have never revealed a definitive author. The case stands as a reminder that sometimes the most unsettling crimes involve no masked intruder or hidden conspiracy, only words on paper, arriving quietly in a mailbox, carrying the fear that someone has been watching all along.